Hey folks, welcome. My name is Emily and this is Gently Chaotic Knits, which is generally a video podcast series about what I am knitting and spinning and sometimes some other stuff as well. I am in Seattle, Washington with my husband and our pup Norman, and today is just a normal project update video. So it's been, I think, 2 weeks since my last one, so it's time to check in again on what I have been working on. I do have a finished object, a finished garment, and then I have a half-finished object, which I'm sure you can guess what that is, and then just some updates and a new cast on. So before I jump into all that stuff, I can tell you what I'm wearing today. It is October 10th, and so it is starting to get a little bit chilly here in the Pacific Northwest, so it is officially the time of year where I just get up each day and I put on a sweater and a pair of jeans. I'm actually not wearing jeans, I'm wearing graph paper pants today, but generally I just get up and I put on jeans and a sweater. So the sweater for today is actually a pattern for a t-shirt that I added sleeves to. So this is the Piazza tee by Sorry Nordland, and I knit this as my first ever Rhinebeck sweater. So I went to Rhinebeck, I guess this was in 2022 with some of my knitting pals, and we all knit matching sweaters. We knit different patterns, but we all use the same yarn. So the yarn is ampersand fibers in there. I just forgot what the DK weight base is called. Caslon is the fingering, right? I don't remember. It's the ampersand fibers DK weight base, and this is the colorway Grisaille 01, I believe. And yeah, so I knit, like I mentioned, the Piazza tee, but instead of making a t-shirt, I just kept going on the sleeves, and so I made it a full-length sweater. And I love this one. I remember really enjoying making it, and I like wearing it too. So that is my sweater for the day. So let's start chatting about what I have been working on. So a lot of my energy the past 2 weeks has been going into finishing up this one project, and I finished it actually yesterday. So just in the nick of time to share with you all today. It's actually, I did put it on the blocking mats last night, so it's still a little bit damp, so I'll just kind of hold it up. But this is the Lunan Polo. You can see if I can hold it up. This is the Lunan Polo. It's a little vertical. I feel like it's going to slide off. It already started sliding, but this is the Lunan Polo by Rebecca Clow, and I knit this for my sister, and I'm so pleased with how it turned out. Those of you that told me, maybe, I think there was 1 or 2 of you that commented on a previous video and told me that the collar eats up a lot more yarn than you expect. That was foreshadowing, because this collar was a beast to knit, honestly. The collar took so much more time than I expected it to, but I mean, it makes sense. It was this, so, okay, here's some of the information I need to share. I knit the smallest size for this, and I used Wooldreamers Sanoa, which I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but is a 50-50 wool cotton blend. It's a 2-ply yarn. It is, I believe it's woolen spun, because it just really wants to kind of pull apart. Very nice and light and airy. It is in the colorway Ozetta, which is just a beautiful, very neutral, kind of creamy. It's not cream, it's not gray, it's just very nice and neutral. It's a fingering weight yarn, so this pattern does have a fingering weight and a DK weight option, and I knit the fingering weight option, and my row gauge was quite off, so I did have to make some modifications to the pattern just to get the lengths of the front and back correct. Otherwise, I also made a lazy modification, which is that all the edgings you're supposed to go down a needle size for, and I just didn't do that. I just stayed on the needle size that I was on already. So I had to go down a needle size to get gauge. I ended up knitting it on a US 1.5 needle, and I think it maybe calls for a US 2. I don't remember. I don't remember the millimeters either, but I remember going down a needle size. So yeah, I knit on a US 1.5. This is definitely still damp. So what was I saying before? I gave you all that information. Yeah, I decided I wanted to do the collar before I did the sleeves because I knew the collar was gonna take more like time and effort, and so I wanted the sleeves to be nice and quick once I was done. And the sleeves were super quick, so this is definitely, I mean, for short sleeves, it probably almost always is, but this was definitely a sleeve in a day project. I did the sleeves over 2 days. I actually did 1.5 sleeves in the first day, and then I just finished up the second sleeve yesterday and woven all the ends and blocked it. The collar took me, I would say at least a week of like fairly focused knitting. I have been pretty busy, so I've only been knitting like a couple hours a day, but it's still, the collar was a lot of effort. It is just, once you get to so, I mean, I won't give too much detail about this, but I can kind of hold it up. So you do these like 2 little bits here, and then you, it's sliding. Maybe I can just hold it up so you can see it a little better as well. So you do these little parts here, and then you pick up all the way around the neckline, and then it's actually, the collar is double knit. So you are double knitting back and forth over 200 stitches. This is for the smallest size. Over 200 stitches, double knit for like several inches. And it's just a lot of knitting. So it just took, I mean, it just takes time. It just takes time. So definitely I would classify this as a labor of love for sure. I mean, gift knitting, I think often is that way, but I love to knit for my friends and family, and I think I've mentioned before that my sister is probably the most knit-worthy person in my life. She always wears the things that I make her, and I know that she really loves and appreciates them, so I am always more than happy to make things for Hannah. Also, I know that Hannah watches these videos, so hi Hannah. Once this dries, I'm gonna send it to you. But I'm really excited to have made this for her. This is another one, I think I mentioned when I started, like when I cast this one on, that as soon as I saw it, and I think it was release day for the pattern, I saw someone had like knit, I think it was a green version, I don't remember who had posted on Instagram, but I just saw it and I sent it to my sister and was like, this is so you. Like, this just feels so you. I feel like you have to have this. So I love making things like that too. Just, it feels so special to get to spend time making something for someone that I really think they'll love. So yeah, I knew I had to cast on right away, and it took me longer than expected just because I don't think I accounted for how small the gauge was going to be on this one, and also that collar was kind of a monster. But yeah, I am really happy. The only unfortunate thing is I feel like I'm finishing it right at the wrong time. Like, this is my last kind of t-shirt summer knit, and I'm finishing it in mid-October, so I don't know how much wear she'll be able to get out of it, but we were chatting and I was saying I think it would be cute over like a long sleeve shirt as well, and I don't know, at least maybe she can get like 1 or 2 wears in if there's like an unexpected warm day. She does live in Wisconsin, so I'll probably be cold soon. It probably already is cold. Although they said she said when I talked to her the other day that it was kind of unseasonably warm, so maybe she can get a wear or 2 in before it gets too cold. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think that the whole neck area and like neck opening is much larger than I expected it to be. Part of that could be because I did not go down the needle size that I was supposed to for the collar, but I really don't think that would bring it in that much. I think that would make the collar itself a little bit smaller, but I don't think that's gonna cinch in everything that much. So, and Hannah, my sister, said that she likes a pretty big collar too, so that was worked out well. So I'm not unhappy that the collar is maybe a touch bigger, but yeah, the whole neck opening is quite large. I haven't tried it on yet since I finished it with the collar. So actually I tried it on with the collar before I blocked it, but without the sleeves. And it looked okay, but I was hoping that I was gonna be able to block it and kind of zhuzh everything back into place, and it would maybe be a little less super like floopy and open. But I was looking back at the pattern photos and also just other people's projects, and I think that's just the style of the pattern. Is just that the polo collar in particular is just pretty open. There's not anything that's really kind of cinching it in. So I think it's fine. I think it will look good, but it's not like a kind of tight collar that you would expect for like a traditional button-up shirt or polo shirt. It's definitely more of kind of an open, like wider neck, I guess, but I think it'll be cute. I think it will still be really cute. Let's see if there's anything else. I did have some issue. All the edgings are sewn bind-offs, so like tubular bind-offs. So the bind-off of the body, the sleeves, and actually the collar is also a tubular sewn bind-off. And I had trouble with this yarn breaking when I was doing the sewn bind-off. So I think just like the repeated motion of that same thread going in and out of the stitches just put enough tension on it that a couple times it snapped. Even after I made an effort to pull less hard, I still had it snap once. So luckily I just kind of spit spliced the yarn back together. Sorry, Hannah, if that's gross. I have washed it since then. But I just spit spliced it back together and kept going. And I think that that should have enough structural integrity that it doesn't like pop open or anything. But yeah, I did have that happen and that was kind of frustrating. I think the bind off on the body, I had it snap on me twice. So not the best, but what can you do? And then I think otherwise, I think it was good. Was this my first? No, I knit the Tolsta. So this is my second pattern of Rebecca's, and I would say I have heard some of my friends that also have knit her patterns have said that she's not necessarily the best beginner-friendly designer, and I would probably agree with that. I do think that some of the patterns that I have knit at least are like not a problem at all. Clear if you already have some baseline understanding of like how to construct a garment. But there's just like not a lot of hand holding. So some of her patterns may be better equipped for that than others. And I don't remember the Tolsta super specifically, but this one, yeah, it was like, I had to have a sense of what was going on, I think. But I did, and it was totally fine. And I'd heard that advice from others as well. And so it's not a big deal. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're gonna knit one of her patterns. But yeah, I didn't have any issues with it other than my row gauge being off, and that was my own problem. So yeah, that is it. That is officially a wrap on the like spring summer knits, t-shirts. We're done with that, fully into sweater mode, and I feel like this is a great one to end on. So I'm excited to send it off to my sister and for her to get to wear it. And great timing, her birthday's in October. So it'll be just in time for me to send it to her for her birthday. So happy birthday, Hannah. And I hope you like it. Okay, I also mentioned I have a half-finished object. I'm gonna take a sip of water really quick. Okay. I do have a half-finished object. I finished this sock actually also yesterday. It was almost done for quite some time, but since I mostly work on socks when I'm on the go, I did not work on it for a while because I was not on the go for a few days. But this is what I am affectionately calling my pumpkin socks, and I finished the first one. So here it is. This sock is I'm not following a pattern or anything. I am just making it up as I go. I am doing 64 stitches, and I did for the pattern just a 1x1 broken rib. So kind of my nail color kind of matches. I just painted my nails right before this, but it kind of looks good with it, I think. But anyway, I just did like a 1x1 broken rib pattern, and I am using the yarn. The reason I call these my pumpkin socks, this yarn is from the Red Pansy. It's on their Voyager sock base, which is I think it's a 75-25 merino nylon 4-ply sock yarn. I got this from Indie Untangled last year. So this was, I believe, their Indie Untangled exclusive colorway. And I just thought it was really nice and fun. Yeah, this sock, I don't know why it always looks too short when I knit it. It's just like my foot is longer than that, right? But yeah, I really like the colorway and I like how these turned out. And I have not even started the second one. So I will try to finish the second, or start and finish the second one, hopefully before the end of the month. Like I mentioned before, I have a very light tentative goal of knitting 12 pairs of socks this year, but I don't know that I'm gonna make it. I will probably be around like 9 or 10 pairs probably. I am 1 or 2 socks or pairs of socks behind pace. If the pace would be knitting 1 per month. I think if I finish this pair in October, I'll be 2 pairs behind pace. So we'll see. I don't know if I'll make 12 or not, but I do like these and want to finish them so that I can wear them for fall. And here I can show you what the yarn looks like in the little skein as well, the cake. Here it is. Very cute. Okay, so that is my half finished object. So now everything else is just works in progress. I mean, I finished spinning project, but I'll talk about that at the end in like a separate spinning section. So let's show some updates on things that you already know about. So I did put some progress in on my Handspun shawl. So this is a modified Autumn Tails shawl. Yes, Autumn Tails shawl by Ozetta. And the only modification is just the edging. Rather than going through at the end and doing an applied kind of braided looking edging, I'm just doing I-cord as I go. So here is the shawl. You can see I have added my second ball of yarn, and this marker is where I was last time I shared with you. So this is a Hello Lavender. This was the Flock exclusive stitch marker last year, which I really like. Anyway, I have attached my second ball and I am past the halfway point. So you can kind of see here, it goes, so the increases and decreases are on one side. So this side is the straight side, and then this side I did increases on, and then I did straight for a little bit, and then I just started doing decreases. You can't really tell, but it is going back in a little bit. This yarn is my Handspun. So the fiber was from YarnJam. It is on their Shaniko Confetti Tweed base, which Shaniko is a breed of sheep that is a cross between Rambouillet and Merino. Is that true? Yes. I think Merino Rambouillet. And the tweed just means that it has these really colorful neps in it. And the colorway for this fiber is Gently Chaotic Knits, which is the name of this podcast. So I got to collaborate with Trisha on this. I know I've talked about this before. If you've watched any of my recent episodes, you've heard me talk about this, but really love how this yarn turned out. I spun it just as a two-ply fractal. So I had 2 braids of it. I split 1 braid into 4 pieces and another braid into 8 pieces, and then I just plied them together. So it makes for some fun, like short, oh my ball of yarn ran away from me. That's okay. It makes for some fun, like shorter stripes, kind of blendy color. I'm not sure. I really love the way that this feels, and I think that the shape of the shawl is going to be really nice, but I don't know how much, because it's so colorful, I don't know how much in my wardrobe this is really going to go with, but I'm not worried about it. I mean, it would go with this sweater. I feel like this would be fine. I could wear it with this. And if I'm just tossing it on top before I step outside or whatever, I think that should be fine. I think this will be a very good dog walking shawl as well, in the evenings when it's chilly, or in the mornings when it's chilly too. So yeah, I'm in love with the colors and how it turned out. I think it's really, really pretty. And yeah, if you're curious about what the non-tweed version looks like, I know I've talked about this a bunch before, but I did spin up some of the non-tweed version of this colorway as well, and this is what it looks like. So just doesn't have those colorful neps in it. Love both versions. So yeah, that is my progress. I'm kind of hoping the next time I record in 2 weeks I will be finished with the shawl, but we'll see. And this is also my submission to the Cozy Comforts make-along that my friend Ariel and my friend Bridget are doing together, that they're hosting. And it is, I think, running until the end of the year, so I'm not in a huge rush to try to get this done, but I do want to get it done just so that I have it for when the weather gets a little bit colder as well. But the idea for the make-along is just to knit something nice and cozy to wear around your neck. So any kind of cowl, shawl, that kind of thing. Actually, I recently saw a pattern that Knitting for Olive just released, which is for like a hood scarf combination thing. It's like a hood, and then it has these long tails that you kind of wrap up around your neck that looks very cute, and I am considering maybe making, because I think that would be nice. But that would also work for the make-along if you wanted to do that. And I think there are prizes and stuff too, but I have not gotten that far on figuring out how to enter, that kind of thing. But definitely check out Airy Knits and BZB Knits on YouTube and Instagram if you want more information about the make-along. And they are encouraging, if you are a spinner, to maybe use some of your hand spun. I don't think it's a requirement because non-spinners are included and welcome as well. But I wanted to use my hand spun for this. I mean, I had already also, whips are welcome because I had started this before the make along, but I thought this was a perfect project to submit for the make along as well. So that is my Autumn Tails shawl. And then I also have an update on another project that I shared about last time. So this is my Seaway pullover, which is a sweater pattern by Ozetta, the shawl pattern also by Ozetta. So I guess I'm having an Ozetta moment. And even though the pattern is not, the yarn for the Lunan polo is Wooldreamers Sanoa, which they collaborated with Ozetta, with Haley Smedley, for the colors of, and the colorway is Ozetta. So this is the Ozetta podcast, I guess. But this pattern is the Seaway pullover, which has this really beautiful kind of loose cable pattern to it. And I have a little bit more than I did last time. And turn my marker around. Actually, it's kind of facing the wrong way. This is my marker. It's also a Hello Lavender marker that says I am learning, which I love and think is very cute. I can't tell if it's focusing. I think it is. Anyway, for this I am using Harrisville Daylights in the colorway Bloodshot. And the Daylights and Nightshade series, I think I talked about last time, from Harrisville. It's 100% Cormo yarn. And the Daylights series is mostly white yarns that have just a little bit of color in them. So Bloodshot is the red version. So if you look at the yarn close up, you can see there's little bits of red in it. Maybe you can see in the skein a little bit better. This is what it looks like. So you can see it's just got that reddish pinkish kind of tint to it. But there are other ones too. I think the yellow one is called Over Easy, which I think is very cute, and blue, green, other colors as well. And then also the Nightshades line is black yarn base with little bits of color in it as well. So I got this at New York Sheep and Wool Festival, not last year, but the year before, and I'm really excited to be using it. I had been trying to think of the perfect pattern for it, and then my friend Chelsea got yarn from Little Fiber Co. to make a Seaway pullover and was chatting with me about it, and I was like, I know exactly what I want to use for this pattern, and I would love to make it as well. So we're doing like a little casual make along, and my friend Charlotte is also knitting with us, and yeah, I'm really enjoying the pattern so far. I have not even finished the back panel. I did not work on this very much over the last, is this supposed to be drop shoulder? Because this is not very drop. Maybe my gauge is off. Is my gauge too tight? Should I be concerned? Right? Like this is right at the top of my shoulders. Should this be wider? Maybe I can block it a little wider, but not that much. Okay, well, live on the air, we're having a little bit of a freak out about my gauge. After I'm done recording, I'm gonna go measure my gauge more carefully and see if I didn't do a real gauge swatch, but I did like a tiny bit where I knit a little bit and then I measured it, but maybe the cables are just bringing it in more. I don't know. Should I be concerned? I think it's drop shoulder, and maybe this adding the sleeves on will really pull the edges down. We'll see. It's gonna be fine, but it's not gonna be that oversized. Do I need to start over? Okay, we're not worrying about that right now. I will I will measure my gauge afterward, and I will see if this is gonna be a problem. As of right now, we're pretending like everything's fine. I did not work on this a ton. Like I mentioned, this marker I think is where I was last time. So I have just done a few of the cable repeats. I think technically I'm only supposed to do one more before I finish the back and switch to doing the front. But I don't think that it's gonna be tall enough, or like this part's gonna be long enough, so I may have to do one extra cable repeat, unless I'm ripping it out altogether and I'm knitting it on a larger needle size to get gauge, because it's too small. I'm not sure. We're not worrying about this too much right now, but I do really like the way that this yarn is knitting up. The Cormo feels really nice, and I like the color as well. So here I am just sitting here and looking lovingly at my yarn. So that is my other work in progress, and then my last work in progress is one that I have not shared with you yet because this was a new cast on in the last couple of weeks. So I started my Doppio pullover, which is a pattern by Seunghee Hong. She is, I think Seunghee knits on Instagram. This has been just like such a popular pattern, especially for using multiple strands of yarns together, which I love. So I had this yarn in stash that I got, I believe, as a Christmas gift last year, and I really wanted this to be kind of the foundation of my Doppio yarn combo. So I took this yarn to La Mercerie and I found some other yarns to pair with it. And now I am making this beautiful beigey Odie Doppio sweater. So let me tell you what the yarns are. So this one is from Sewrella Yarns and is the colorway Stars Hollow. This is just the classic sock base, which I think may not even have nylon in it. I think it's just 100% merino fingering weight. It looks like a 2-ply. And it is from their Gilmore Girls collection, which also was part of what got me, because I am a big Gilmore Girls fan and I like to rewatch Gilmore Girls every fall. So this felt like the perfect yarn for this really sweet and cozy sweater. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to really go lean into the marling that a lot of people are doing with the Doppio. I ended up going with something a little more subtle. So I got this yarn, which is from Woolberry Fiber Co. and is on their Berry Merino base, which I also believe is just a 100% Merino 2-ply fingering weight yarn. It is the colorway Homestead, which I don't know what collection this is from or what the inspiration is, but it's just a really nice kind of warm beigey cream. And then the fluffy yarn that I am using is Fyberspates Cumulus in the colorway Natural. So I'm holding all 3 of these yarns together. I am knitting the size 1. I am using a US 10 needle, and I feel like I cannot remember the last time I used a needle that big. And here is my progress. So I have not done a ton on this. I did cast on with my friend Maya shortly after I recorded last time. We had a little cast on party, started watching Gilmore Girls, and had just the perfect fall evening. And we cast on our Doppio sweaters. So I'll show you kind of the back so you can see a little bit of the fabric at least. It is just the coziest fabric. I love the little bits of color. The blue definitely is the most dominant of the speckle colors, but there are red and gold speckles in there as well. I don't know if you can see that. There's like a red one and gold over there, I think. Oh, this one's actually kind of gold and then red, yeah. But I really am enjoying how this is knitting up. And now that I finished the polo, I am gonna give this sweater a lot more attention because I do want to have it ready for when the weather gets colder. But I'm worried that this sweater is almost gonna be too warm, that it's gonna be like, I can only wear this in the depths of winter and like can't wear a coat. I don't know, just with 3 strands of yarn and one of them being Surrey, I just worry that it's gonna be really, really warm, but it will definitely feel very cozy. So yeah, I think now that I am gonna be working on this some more, I do think it's gonna knit up pretty quickly. So we'll see how quickly. And that is it for my knitting works in progress. That is all I've been working on. I don't really have plans for anything to cast on in the next like week or 2, I guess, because I'm going to be working on these. My next garment cast on is going to be the Alver pullover by Sari Nordland that I am knitting in my first ever hand spun sweater quantity. So I spun this yarn from some BFL that I got in New York Sheep and Wool last year. My friend Maya and I both got this fiber and both spun a sweater quantity of it, and we are going to be casting on this sweater together in a couple weeks. So I'm very excited for that, but that'll be my next one. So I'm hoping I can finish at least one, if not both, of the garments on my needles before then. If I have to restart the Seaway, I don't think I will have that one done in time, and I probably won't anyway, but maybe I can at least have the Doppio finished before we cast this one on. So that would be ideal. Okay, let me talk about some spinning. Am I forgetting something? I have my notes and I just want to make sure that I didn't miss something. So beep, 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 beep. Yep, I think that's everything. So if I forgot something, it's because I didn't write it down. I'm gonna take another sip of water. Oh my gosh. Norman is on his bed, covered by his blanket, but just like one of his eyes is poking out. Oh, he just readjusted, but he was just completely covered except for one eye. That was very funny. Okay, so spinning wise, I finished a project and I started a new big project that I'm very excited to share with y'all. So the project that I finished was my Christmas sock spin. So here it is. This is my Christmas sock yarn. I love how this turned out. I am really, really happy with how this turned out. So this fiber was created by LCB. The colorway is Vintage Christmas. I saw this in progress pair of socks that I believe Lindsay from Larkspur Knits posted, and I just loved it. I loved the colors. I just thought it was so beautiful. So I decided I really want to spin that exact fiber and make that exact pair of socks. And my friend Maya was also down to do this with me. So we got the fiber, and now I think some of my other knitting and spinning friends ordered fiber to make the same yarn and socks with us as well, which I love too. So, but theirs hasn't come yet. But anyway, I spun this as a three-ply fractal. So I split the braid into 3 pieces vertically, and then I did a 1, 2, 3 fractal. So that means I left the first section as is. I actually did a horizontal split just to manage the color a little bit. And then the second piece I split in 2, and then the third piece I split in 3 vertically as well. And then I spun them up. And there were definitely some sections where all 3 plies lined up color-wise. So the whole beginning of when I was spinning was this like beigey pink color for a while right there. And then towards the end, there was a section where they were all 3 red. So when I was plying it, I was like, oh, I don't know, is this gonna be weird? But I actually really like the way that it turned out, and I think it's gonna make a really cute pair of socks. So this will be probably a Christmas Eve sock cast on. Maya and I have done a Christmas Eve sock cast on together the last couple of years, so I think we will do it again this year as well. And I think that, yeah, sorry, I was in the middle of a different thought and then my brain went on to the next thought. I'm really happy with the consistency in this yarn. I feel like this is the best sock yarn I have ever spun. I think that the weight is really good, and it's a 3-ply and it looks so nice and round. I like the amount of twist in my ply. I really like, yeah, I just really like the way it turned out. My favorite bits of the yarn are like some of these bits in here that you can tell each of the plies is a different color. So it's like one ply is red, one is green, one is pink or beige or whatever. I really like those. And yeah, I think it turned out really squishy. The fiber base, oh, I didn't say this, the fiber base is Targhee bamboo silk. I have never spun, honestly, I don't think I've ever spun with any of those things. I've never spun Targhee. I've never spun bamboo for sure. I maybe have spun silk before, but I don't remember it. So it was all completely new to me, but it was easy enough to spin, and the resulting yarn is really nice. It's squishy, I think, from the Targhee, but it's really soft and almost sleek from the bamboo and the silk. So I think it'll be really nice for socks, and I really like how it turned out. It's just really nice and squishy. So, but yeah, that is my finished sock yarn. So it'll be ready for me for some Christmas socks. Okay. After I finished this project, I was actually frantically trying to finish this project in time because my friends, my Seattle and San Francisco knitting group pals, we're doing another knit along. And for this one, we are all knitting the Traveler hoodie by Andrea Mowry. And a few of us are also spinning the yarn that we are knitting for the hoodie. So I had already picked out my fiber, and I think I shared it on a previous episode, but I sampled this week. I actually was frantically finishing this because we had a video call where some folks were casting on, some folks were starting their spins, and it was just like a fun get together. And I wanted to start my sample on that call, and I was able to, but I was like frantically plying this while at the beginning of the call. I finished this and then I started sampling, so here is my sample, and let me tell you about it because I am so obsessed with this. I'm really, really pleased with how this turned out. So I am doing a 2-ply spin. 1 ply is plain gray BFL, and the other ply is a patchwork kit from Hello Yarn. So it's basically just mystery bits of hand-dyed fiber that Adrian like curated so that all the colors kind of go pretty well together. And I am so pleased with how it turned out. Let me give you a closer look. So you can tell in there maybe that there is one strand that is just gray and then color changing the other strand. Okay, I'm gonna pause for a second because I think that my SD card is full. So 1 second and I'll be back. Okay, I'm not sure what's gonna happen there, but hopefully it'll all work out. So anyway, I was giving you a close up there. You can see one strand of the gray and one strand of the color. And I think the gray just really helps kind of tone down the color a little bit, but it still has that very rainbowy, color changey vibe, which I really love. So yeah, I think there's some colors that didn't make it into the sample. So there will be, I think there's some more like oranges and purples in the mystery fiber that didn't make it in here. So there will be some more colors, but I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. I was thinking that this doesn't feel the best. It's not like the softest or squishiest fiber. I mean, it feels pretty good, but I think I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm just feeling spoiled from my most recent spins, like the Shaniko. And I did that cinnamon roll spin as well, which by the way I washed and it fluffed up and it's beautiful. Just really, really love how that spin turned out. But that, and then even the Targi bamboo silk is really nice too. So I think that I'm just feeling spoiled by some really nice spins recently. So this isn't necessarily the softest, but I do still really like how it's turning out and I think it will be really nice. So yeah, that is my spinning for this last couple of weeks. And it's gonna be probably, this is gonna be what I'm working on for quite some time because I have 2 pounds of fiber to spin. So I have 1 pound of the gray BFL and 1 pound of the color changing yarn. So it's gonna be probably at least a month that I'm working on this. So hopefully, I'm hoping I can finish and in time for to start spinning my Advent in December. So that is my goal, is just to finish this by the end of November. But we'll see how that goes. So that's it, I think, for all the crafting. I don't have any other things I've been working on. I have been itching to sew a skirt, but I just have not gotten around to it. So maybe next week I'll work on that. But otherwise, yeah, so we have been fully in fall mode. We've continued making fall foods and doing fun fall activities. We went to a pumpkin sunflower apple farm this last weekend with some friends, which was absolutely delightful. Had mini apple cider donuts, which were so tasty. We had, and oh my gosh, the sunflowers were beautiful. It was just so pretty. And very much felt like fall. We have been making fall foods. We did a pizza night with fall pizza toppings and oh my gosh, so good. We did one we'd had before that had like cut up squash and goat cheese, and or like roasted squash and goat cheese and dried cranberries on it, which was super tasty. But this time we did one with caramelized onions, and the onions were caramelized in apple cider as well. And then we put thinly sliced apples and cheese and some like prosciutto cured meat. And what else was on that one? I mean, like cheese. And that was so good. I think it's maybe my favorite set of pizza toppings ever. So definitely recommend that. Let's see, what else have we been making? I made apple pie with our hand-picked apples. I am planning to make apple cake tomorrow, and yeah, we're just living our best fall life. So that has been really nice. We are going next weekend to Crater Lake, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, otherwise we're just settling into fall, chillier weather, and yeah, but I feel like that's pretty much it. So I'm still getting stuff settled in the house. I have a shelf to assemble today. I went to IKEA again yesterday to get some other stuff for the shelf and like some other stuff for the house. But I feel like that's pretty much all I have to share. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a great week. I hope you do lots of knitting and watch playoff baseball. I have not been paying attention. And yeah, have a great couple of weeks until I see you next. So bye.